A toast to my wonderful wife on her birthday.
To the happiest of birthdays.
Klaus has no idea that in less than 24 hours, he's going to witness something that will shake the entire German army to its core.
Something the Allies spent months secretly burying right under their noses. And the craziest part? The Germans had no clue what was coming. Not a single clue.
Okay, so here's the deal. After the Allies realized they couldn't invade France head-on without getting absolutely destroyed, they came up with a genius, and I mean genius, plan. They were going to fortify the beaches, but not with normal military defenses. No, they literally buried thousands upon thousands of obstacles all along the Norman coast. We're talking about some seriously creepy, devilish contraptions that would make any engineer go, okay, that's messed up. Think about it from the German perspective for a second. You're a young German soldier, fresh off the boat, stationed in Normandy. You've heard rumors that an invasion is coming. Maybe, probably. You're not totally sure because honestly, high command is kind of a mess at this point. But you know you're supposed to be ready. So you patrol the beaches, you check things out, you're looking for signs of the enemy. And what do you see? Nothing. Well, actually, you start seeing some stuff. Weird metal obstacles, concrete blocks, wooden stakes sticking out of the sand and water like some kind of demented art installation. The Allies called these obstacles, but the Germans, they gave them names. Czech hedgehogs, dragon's teeth, anti-tank concrete cubes. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, but these weren't random. Every single one was placed with military precision. The crazy thing is, the German high command knew these obstacles were there. Of course they did. But here's where the story gets wild. They thought they had plenty of time to upgrade the defenses. They thought they could just add more barbed wire, more mines, more machine gun nests whenever they felt like it. They were wrong. So incredibly wrong. So let me paint you the picture of what was actually happening behind the scenes while Klaus is standing on that beach bored out of his mind. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, yeah, that Rommel, the Desert Fox himself, he was supposed to be in charge of defending the Atlantic Wall. He knew the Allies were coming. He actually pushed for more beach obstacles, more mines, more defenses. This guy got it. He understood that if the Allies got a foothold on those beaches, Germany was basically toast. But here's the problem. Rommel wasn't on the beach on June 5th. Why? Because it was his wife's birthday. I'm not making this up. The man who could have potentially changed the entire outcome of the war was literally celebrating with his family 500 miles away in Germany. And get this, nobody thought to call him back. Nobody said, hey, Field Marshal, maybe you should come back to the coast just in case something goes down tomorrow. Nope, radio silence. Even worse, Hitler himself ordered that no major military decisions could be made without his personal approval. And where was Hitler? Sleeping. The guy was asleep while the largest invasion in human history was being prepared just across the English Channel. This is the kind of incompetence we're talking about. So the obstacles the Allies buried on those beaches, they were sitting there, ready and waiting, but the German defenses behind them weren't fully manned. The reinforcements that should have been rushed to Normandy, they were stuck waiting for Hitler to wake up and give permission to move. The Panzers, those heavy tanks that could have pushed the Allies back into the sea, they were being held in reserve, waiting for orders that never came fast enough. And Klaus was still on the beach, probably drinking terrible coffee and thinking about how he'd rather be literally anywhere else on Earth. All right, so what exactly were these obstacles that the Allies spent months burying? Let's break it down because this is actually incredible when you think about the engineering. First up, the Czech hedgehogs. These things looked like giant metal jacks, like the toys you played with as a kid, but made of steel and standing 6 feet tall. They were designed to rip open the hulls of landing craft. You're coming in on an LST, that's a landing ship tank, and you hit one of these bad boys, your whole operation is compromised. Your ship is flooded. Soldiers are dying before they even touch the beach. Then you've got the concrete obstacles. Some of them had mines attached. Some of them were just massive chunks of concrete shaped to catch propellers and rip them clean off. The Germans helped with some of these by abandoning old military structures, but the Allies upgraded them. They weaponized them. Every single obstacle was strategically placed in zones that would be underwater at high tide, which means, genius move alert, the Germans couldn't easily remove them without getting wet and exposed. And the mines, oh man, the mines. The Allies buried something like 5.8 million mines on those beaches. That's not a typo, 5.8 million. Some were anti-tank mines, some were anti-personnel mines, some were booby-trapped so that if you tried to defuse them, you'd blow yourself to smithereens. That's the kind of industrial-scale nightmare fuel we're talking about. But here's what absolutely blew the minds of German commanders. They didn't realize how thoroughly this had been done. They thought it was just a few obstacles, a few mines, a defensive line. But when June 6th rolled around and the smoke cleared, they realized the Allies had essentially created an underwater obstacle course designed with one purpose: to slow down the invasion long enough for air support and artillery to decimate the landing forces. Except there was one huge variable the Germans didn't account for. The Allies had air superiority. The Luftwaffe was basically gone by this point. German pilots were being shot down faster than they could be replaced. So while American and British planes were bombing the hell out of German positions, the Germans couldn't do a damn thing about it. No air support, no way to push back. Just sand, obstacles, and the sound of artillery getting closer and closer. Okay, so it's June 6th, 4:30 a.m. Klaus is finally getting some action, but it's the wrong kind of action. The sky lights up, and I mean lights up. Thousands of ships appear on the horizon. Tens of thousands of soldiers are coming. The noise is insane. Explosions, machine gun fire, the sound of planes overhead. Klaus's eyes are probably as wide as dinner plates at this point. The landing craft start hitting those obstacles. Some are blown up by mines, some are trapped and can't get past them. Soldiers are jumping into the water, trying to navigate through this minefield of metal and concrete. And the whole time they're getting shot at. Machine guns, mortars, anything the Germans can throw at them. Now Klaus is supposed to be fighting back, but here's the thing. The German reinforcements that should have been there, they're still stuck in traffic, literally. Panzer divisions are being held up by traffic jams because the roads have been bombed by the Allies. And the orders to release these tanks, they're still stuck in bureaucracy. Hitler hasn't woken up yet. By the time Rommel gets the call and says, yeah, we need reinforcements, it's already too late. The Allies have a beachhead. They've got air support. They've got supply lines coming in. The obstacles that the Allies buried that were supposed to break the invasion, they slowed it down, but they didn't stop it, because the Germans weren't prepared to take advantage of the time those obstacles bought them. Klaus is standing on that beach, watching thousands of American and British soldiers push inland. He's probably thinking something like, okay, this is not going according to plan. Understatement of the century, right? The obstacles the Allies buried worked. They absolutely worked, but only as part of a much bigger strategy. You had air superiority, you had better intelligence, you had a working chain of command. The Germans had, well, they had obstacles and hopes that somebody in leadership would make the right call. They didn't. By the end of D-Day, over 4,000 Allied soldiers were dead or missing. Thousands more were wounded. But they had established a foothold. And more importantly, they had proven that the Atlantic Wall wasn't as impenetrable as Hitler claimed it was. Within weeks, the Allies had brought in their own equipment to fortify the beaches they'd taken. They brought in artificial harbors called mulberry harbors. They established supply lines. They reinforced their positions. And the German army? They were pushed further and further back, until, about 11 months later, they surrendered unconditionally. Klaus probably didn't survive the war. Statistically speaking, most German soldiers in that situation didn't. The ones who did survive often said the same thing. We never imagined they could organize something this massive, and we never imagined our own leadership would be too confused to stop it. The obstacles on the beach were metal and concrete, but the real obstacles, the ones that doomed Germany, were incompetence, bad luck, and a leadership that was completely out of touch with reality. So next time you hear about D-Day, remember Klaus on that beach. Remember Rommel at his wife's birthday party. Remember Hitler asleep while history was being made. Because sometimes the difference between victory and defeat isn't just about weapons and tactics. Sometimes it's about who's paying attention and who isn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more WW2 stories that'll blow your mind.